Of course, we want to address the root of the problem, rather than simply addressing the manifestation. This is where it's important to seek professional help from a certified dog training program. There are some huge benefits to enrolling in an online dog training course. The most obvious is convenience, as you're able to schedule the lessons around your other commitments and can take as much time as you need reviewing each lesson. Online classes also tend to be a little easier on your wallet, which is always a plus. Brain Training for Dogs review about the course creator. Adrienne Farricelli is a CPDT CAUSE certified dog trainer. She implements a program that emphasizes tapping into your dog's own natural intelligence. It's no secret that dogs are highly intelligent animals, and Adrienne appeals to this by using techniques that encourage learning. The theory behind the work is that once your dog knows what to expect from you, it's easier to form a symbiotic relationship. Adrienne's course focuses primarily upon force-free dog training. This means exactly what it sounds like. In force-free training, there's no external punishment applied in the form of a painful shock, shouting, or other outwardly intimidating factor. Instead, the stress is removed from the dog, and he's encouraged to participate in training because he wants to, rather than because he has to. This is a great alternative to getting frustrated and scaring your dog. By removing the barrier of fear and intimidation, your dog instead is working to actively please you and to produce those results. This means that he will remember what makes you happy and do his best to emulate it in the future. There's a lot of competition in the dog training world. In dog training, you never want to learn from someone who's overly strict and dismissive. Any good dog trainer needs to have a healthy dose of compassion and love for our animals if they're to achieve the best results. Many dog trainers use different methods, but Adrienne's is different from the majority in many beneficial ways. For one thing, she's stimulating your dog's natural intelligence instead of simply appealing to his instincts. Likewise, she places a lot of emphasis on trying to understand the cause of the dog's behavior rather than only addressing the manifestation. For example, if your puppy tends to be a little destructive when you're away at work, the likely cause is separation anxiety. It's far better to understand and treat this behavior rather than getting angry and treating him like a bad dog. Now that we've got it out of the way, let's move on. Brain Training for Dogs review, the member area. In the main member area, there are 2 dog training courses: Brain Training for Dogs, Behavior Training for Dogs. I'll talk about both of them in depth later on. But first, I'd like to point out a few of the pages and bonuses that come with this program, and in my opinion, are necessary for your dog training success. Course resources. On this page, you'll see a list of all the important items you'll need in order to follow Adrienne's games and exercises. She even suggests common household alternatives in case you want to start training your dog immediately. Article Archive. This page contains over 100 articles that explain in detail how to deal with common behavior problems, such as aggression, barking, marking, phobias, and more. There's even a whole section directed towards puppies. You'll also learn professional training techniques from Adrienne herself, which is basically a course on its own. It's important to note that all of the articles are only available to online course members and can't be found elsewhere. You also have access to a small video library which focuses mostly on teaching your dog tricks, which is a nice little addition. Case studies. Here, Adrienne shares some of her clients' work with her students. This way, you can almost feel as though you're actually peeking over her shoulder as she's working with other dogs and their specific behavior problems, such as separation anxiety, jumping, etc. You'll learn about the potential causes that lurk behind these behaviors, as well as the training techniques that were used. At the time of this post's writing, there are only 2 case studies, but Adrienne is always adding new content, so it's worth going back to this page on a regular basis. Private forum. Once you've become a member of the course, you'll have free access to a private forum where you can leave your questions. This forum is quite new, but it seems to be gaining momentum. While Adrienne can't be expected to promptly answer each and every post, she usually replies within a day's time. Brain Training for Dogs Review inside the course. Introduction. This is the very foundation of all that you'll learn, the very first step in the process. You'll get to know Adrienne and her background, her certificates, as well as her way of training. There's also a quick introduction to the course, which emphasizes the importance of bonding with your dog through games and providing him with mental stimulation. Next in this module, you'll go over the structure of the course. Basically, your dog will have to go through multiple levels, which are arranged from the easiest to the hardest. Each level has its own passing grade. Most people will start at the preschool level, where they can teach their dog or puppy basic skills and ultimately prepare him for the next tasks. The grades are determined by the time it takes for your dog to complete a task. Only when your dog passes the minimum grade at one level is he ready to move on to the next. You'll also be able to see the items that are required to finish each training. Most of the exercises only require some kind of food or dog treats to reward your dog. The rest of the items are optional or can be replaced with common household items. To sum up this module, there's a whole class on clicker training and how to use a clicker to mark a wanted behavior. Although you don't have to use a clicker to follow this course, there are some benefits to it that will be explained in this lesson. Obedience 101. This part of the course teaches basic obedience training. We're talking about simple commands such as sit, leave it, stay, etc. However, these skills are required in order to tackle most behavior problems in dogs, as well as for teaching your dog some of the brain games in this course. The emphasis here is on developing patience and impulse control. Training tips. This section is dedicated to helping you perfect your training methods and making sure your dog isn't overly dependent on food lures and heavy hand gestures. Instead, you'll learn how to add verbal cues so your dog can still perform the behaviors you taught him, even when you don't hold a yummy piece of chicken in your hand. Brain training. This is where the fun part begins. Using the knowledge you acquired in previous lessons, you can now start climbing your way through the brain training levels. All the way from preschool up to Einstein, Brain Training for Dogs Review the levels. Preschool. Preschool level starts with target training and also includes 2 other games that will teach your dog how to focus. These skills may seem trivial at first, but they'll be important later on. In this module, you'll learn the airplane game. See the video below. While it may be very simple, this game goes a long way towards having your dog look at you as the source for rewards. Elementary level focuses on your dog's sense of smell. These fun games will encourage your dog to use his nose and hunting skills in order to find his kibbles or treats. Here, you'll learn the ball pit game, which is all about wearing your dog out while still providing him with a fun time. High school level features more games that will challenge your dog's olfactory receptors. Adrienne's recommended game for this module is having your dog bob for tasty treats. Not only does this stimulate his mind, but it also develops patience, problem solving, and keep him occupied and happy. Plus, there's a special game that teaches dogs how to settle down when they're overly excited. College. College level presents harder dog nose work games, including a super important game that teaches your dog how to control his anticipation when going outside. You'll also learn the shell game, which tests your dog's agility. University level contains more advanced tasks that help you to increase the bond with your dog and shape a better behaved dog. This level combines the skills you and your dog have learned up to this point. There's an emphasis on impulse control as well as obeying verbal commands. The goal of one of the games is to stop your dog's barking out of the window. Graduation and Einstein levels are mainly targeted at boosting your pet's brain power. The games will teach your dog how to perform nifty tricks and some say even useful. From tidying up his toys to recognizing an object by name and perhaps the most unusual, playing the piano. At the bottom of the tasks, there's an exam grade table which lists the time taken to complete them and a grade next to it. Once your dog completed all the levels, he can take the Einstein challenge, where he will be challenged to beat Einstein's score for each game.